Hello, my name's Evan Popplestone from Cinema's Fringes, and today I'll be talking about The Snowman, starring Michael Fassbender. And no, it's not the Raymond Briggs The Snowman. This is an adaptation of the Jo Nesbo novel, and it starts off in a remote house somewhere in snowy Norway. And this is a flashback many years ago. A young boy witnesses the abuse of his mother that she receives at the hands of a police officer with whom she's having an affair. And later on, when the mother and her lover have a disagreement, the latter drives away in his police car, and the mother, with his son in the passenger seat, pursues after him in her Volvo. However, during the drive, she lets go of the steering wheel and ends up skidding into a frozen lake. And when the ice suddenly cracks, the boy gets out of the vehicle, but his mother remains inside, and she's resigned to her fate of drowning for some reason. Then we fast forward through the present day winter Norway, and on Harry Holm, who plays by Michael Fassbender, who's an alcoholic detective who's bored with the lack of action from the low murder rate in Oslo. However, this period of calm soon interrupted when he gets a mysterious envelope, and it contains quite a sinister message, which ends with this mysterious, shady character saying that he's going to build this woman a snowman. And sure enough, a series of women start to get snowmen built in front of their homes, after which they start dying in horrible ways. And as Harry starts investigating, he teams up with a rookie by the name of Catherine Bratt. She's played by Rebecca Ferguson, who has an unusually enthusiastic work ethic about the case. And as he's working, he also uncovers a 9-year-old case file related to a similar series of incidents which occurred in Bergen, and these were investigated by a detective named Gert Rafto, who's played by Val Kilmer. And also, while Harry's going about this, his focus on the case is also divided with his fraught relationship with his ex-partner, played by Charlotte Gainsbourg from Nymphomaniac, as well as the delinquent son who's his own, who lives with her. Now, Jo Nesbo's The Snowman was definitely a film I was quite looking forward to, as there's a lot of talent involved. A previous Jo Nesbo book called The Headhunters was adapted into a fantastic action thriller in 2011 by director Morten Tildum. And this one's adapted by Thomas Alfredson, who made his name with the excellent vampire horror Let the Right One In. Martin Scorsese is one of the executive producers, and his longtime editing collaborator Thelma Schoonmaker also performs editing duties here. And there's also a fantastic cast of Michael Fassbender, Charlotte Gainsbourg, Chloe Sevigny, Toby Jones, Val Kilmer, J.K. Simmons, and so on. But it all goes pretty badly pear-shaped. The one thing that really hits the mark here is Dion Beebe's cinematography. Well, there's a lot of expansive aerial shots which quite atmospherically capture the vast, chilly, and overwhelmingly white landscapes of wintertime Norway. And the nighttime Oslo streets are cast in this kind of hazy film noir glow, which is just perfect for all the sinister goings on. And unfortunately, the good points basically ended the looks of the film. The most immediately glaring issues are the terrible accents and performances. It's a bit like, Oliver Stone's Alexander, where there was Colin Farrell with his Irish accent, and then everyone else had an Irish accent, despite the fact that this was set in ancient Greece. Well, here we have Michael Fassbender's London Drama School accent in lieu of a Norwegian one, and we have everyone else recreating or at least attempting this accent, though some of them do slip in baffling ways. There's Val Kilmer, who sometimes slips into his own American accent, which is understandable. But Chloe Sevigny, she's an American too, and she occasionally drops into an inexplicable Irish accent for some reason. It's all pretty distracting, and it's heightened by the fact that everyone gives such flat performances. I have a feeling that the director, Thomas Alfredson, just didn't have an ear for English language dialogue. And unfortunately, most of the actors don't really have much to work with anyway. It's pretty serious a crime and comparable to anything that happens in the movie when Toby Jones, of all people, is given a tiny amount of screen time and his role's almost completely inconsequential to the actual story. And this sounds pretty cruel, but Val Kilmer's looks and talent have severely deteriorated in recent years, and this is painfully noticeable here. He should really just keep what little dignity he has left, give up acting forever, go and do something else with your life. I'm sorry, Val. I have admired some of your work in the past, but now, yeah, it's all well behind you. Now, the bad accents and acting are noticeable from the start, but another major issue becomes glaring over a time as you're watching is that The Snowman as a thriller, it's perilously short on any actual thrills. Sure, there's plenty of gore and dismemberment with decapitated or blown off heads, chopped off arms, severed fingers, a garroting, and so on. But there's no real tension leading up to these scenes, and until we get to the climax, and even the latter is dragged down by some noticeably clunky moments. There's a bit here when a character he comes a cropper because he's doing something that there'd been one iota of sense in the script he would have known full well not to do, because there's already a scene that establishes this particular situation that would have been a nightmarish moment for him. And it's all pretty much as slack as pajamas, which are 3 sizes too big. A lot of it just doesn't hang together in a cohesive or logical manner. Quite a few of the characters and subplots are introduced through the story but are never resolved satisfactorily. The opening sequence in particular, um, which explains the killer's background, we get a glimpse of this cruel relationship between the mother and the abusive policeman, but it's never satisfactorily explained why she puts up with the abuse, why she chases after him when he storms off after that argument, why she suddenly lets go of the steering wheel and then complacently just lets herself drown in the end. It's just a bunch of confused motivations, and it's got no resolution or relevance elsewhere in the actual story. So, as you can surmise from my reviews, The Snowman's a bit of a mess. If you're coming into it expecting an exciting thriller, it probably would have been more aptly titled The Snowman. However, it is strangely watchable, and it's maybe only because it looks good, and there's just something so weirdly off about the whole enterprise. It's just strangely fascinating in its own way. I kind of don't understand why there's this 1970s electronic novelty pop song, Popcorn by Hot Butter, that seems to just crop up during 2 scenes. It's never explained. It's utterly weird that they choose this piece of music. And it's just a microcosm of the film as a whole. It's baffling, it's a mess. I really wouldn't recommend it unless you're into bad movies.